friends, welcome back to another video. My name is Chelsea and this is my Everything Books channel. I haven't done a haul video since I think early February. I wanted to do a little spring haul of all the books that I've gotten since then because I've gotten quite a few. So I'm not going to go through like in depth on any of the plots for these, and a bunch of them are books I've actually already read. I just didn't have a physical copy of, and then some are some new stuff that's going to be now on my ever-growing physical TBR. But I'm very excited. I have a lot, so let's get right into it. So first up is a series that I've talked about a little bit on this channel before. It's Anna Huang's Twisted series. I bought Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and Twisted Lies. I love this series so much. I've never actually read the first book. I was debating buying that one too, and I might do it eventually. But this is an interconnected contemporary romance series that I'm really obsessed with. My favorite out of these. So I first read Twisted Games just because I was specifically looking for a bodyguard trope type romance. And this, if you're looking for that, is just like the best. Twisted Hate sounds exactly what you think it sounds like. It's like an enemies to lovers romance and they hate each other throughout the whole book. It's really fun. And then my favorite is probably Twisted Lies. This is also the last one, so it kind of wraps up a lot of these friends and their like relationships towards the end of the book. But I just really loved our main character, Stella. Really reminded me the most of myself, and I just love Christian so much. This is such a good series. Then we have The Crown of Oaths and Curses by J. Bree. J. Bree is one of my favorite authors. This is Rook on the cover. She's the main character. She's amazing. This is an enemies to lovers romance where they absolutely hate each other in this book. And there are two prequel novellas that take place before this first book that's pretty required reading in my opinion, because each of the main characters kind of get their own prequel book. Kind of get their own prequel like short story. And I'm so excited that I own this. I always thought the cover was really pretty because I originally read it on Kindle and just really wanted to own it. Up next is another series I've been getting obsessed over. It's the first book in the Chestnut Spring series. It's Flawless by Elsie Silver. I do plan on one day buying the entire series because I am really in love with it. I'm in the third book right now. Been reading it mostly on Kindle because they're free on Kindle. I feel like this series was really big last year and I'm always a little behind on things, but the hype is worth it. And in this series, I honestly think it's been getting better and better as I read them. I might do some sort of ranking of them when I'm done. I don't know yet, because this one probably wasn't my favorite, but I really, really liked it, and I really think these covers are quite pretty. And there's a few instances where I kind of bought the first in a series for things, more or less because when I look at my bookshelves, I kind of forget the stuff that I want to buy, especially things I've already read. So it's just sort of a placeholder that I eventually want to buy all these books, but maybe not all at once. Then we have Happy Place by Emily Henry. I love this cover. While this isn't my favorite Emily Henry by far, the new book, Funny Story, I absolutely loved. But I bought this a few months ago, I think just because it was finally available in paperback a couple months ago, so I bought it, and I'll probably wait to do the same for Funny Story because I own like all of Emily Henry's books, but they're all in paperback. And I just prefer my romance books to be in paperback, so I'm willing to wait for that. So I'm glad that I own it because all of her covers are really cute and they have like the really cute spines. Then I have Check and Mate by Ellie Hazelwood. And this got a little messed up because there was a sticker on there, and I've never had it happen where I took off a sticker and it kind of like peeled some of the coloring off, which kind of stinks because I think this cover is really, really cute. Ellie Hazelwood is another author that I've become pretty obsessed with over the last couple of years, and this is her like YA debut, and it's obviously chess themed, and they're sort of like a rivals to lovers romance story in here as well. And I don't read a ton of YA anymore, so I was kind of putting this one off for a little bit, but I think I'm going to read it later this month because I really love Ellie Hazelwood's writing, and even if it's YA, I'm sure I'm going to like it, and I really like chess, so this should be like a fun, cute read. All right, now this one is a new favorite. Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This book is everywhere right now, and the hype is real. This was a 5-star read for me. I absolutely love this book. It's probably going to be one of my favorite books of the year. Not only is the cover absolutely beautiful, and I'm so glad that I own this, it's very pretty. Abby Jimenez is another author I've become pretty obsessed with over the last year. I've yet to read something by her that I didn't like, and I'm kind of picky when it comes to contemporary romances. She has a little dog on the cover, and it's very sweet. Another Allie Hazelwood and another 5-star, Bride. This was like her fantasy paranormal kind of debut. I absolutely loved this book. I thought it was such a fun read. Allie Hazelwood is like definitely one of us. Like, she loves these types of stories. They're so much fun. I'm a big kind of paranormal person. Like I love like stories like this. It reminded me a little bit of like Buffy from when I was younger, because our main character is a vampire, and basically it's like a forced marriage trope where she's being forced by her father to marry the alpha werewolf. There's a really sweet romance that develops, and there's a lot of like kind of political like stuff and weird like war stuff happening between different species, I guess, in this world. And yeah, she's just got such fun, witty, like cute writing. It was just so funny and so sweet, and I really, really loved it. I read it so quickly, and Misery is such a fun character. Here's one that I haven't read yet, but it is stunning. It's The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. Leigh Bardugo wrote the Six of Crows duology and Ninth House, which I really liked a lot. This is on my most anticipated books list of the year. So I will be reading it soon. I think I might be reading it next month. So this is a very simple but like beautiful cover. And then inside, so we have the sprayed edges too, which is fun. And then inside we have kind of like these endy pages, which are really pretty. And yeah, I saw this in the store and just immediately had to buy it, even though I knew it was going to be a little bit till I could get to it. But I really like her writing style, and it sounds really intriguing. Okay, then I got the Sacred Stones series by Kate Golden. So the first one is A Dawn of Onyx, which I read late last year. Really liked it. It's a fantasy romance, enemies to lovers. And then A Promise of Peridot just came out, I believe, last month, and I read this like literally 3 days after it came out, and I tabbed it pretty significantly too. I really like this series. I think the last book comes out later this year, so I'm really excited. But the magic in this world is pretty interesting. It has a lot of fun characters. There's fae, there's evil kings. Our main protagonist is pretty awesome. She's a healer, and I don't want to get too deep into any of the plot just because there's like prophecies and cliffhangers and crazy stuff, but there's a pretty significant romantic arc, but also a very interesting fantasy world. So if you haven't heard of this one yet, I would definitely check it out because it's super fun read, super easy read, and I can't wait for that third book to come out because I feel like the second book left me really like waiting for more to happen, and I think it did a pretty good setup for whatever the ending is going to be, but we gotta wait a little longer for that. Okay, so this next book isn't going to surprise anyone if you've watched some of my other videos, just because I've talked about this pretty significantly. It's Broken Bonds by Jay Bree. This is the first book in the Bonsai series, which is one of my favorite series that I've read this year. I read it in January, right after I started this channel, and I was so obsessed with it that I read all 6 books within a week. I love the covers so much. That's why I want to buy all of them. There's 6 books in the series, and so this is our main girl, Ollivander, and this is a Why Choose romance. So there's 5 guys in kind of her bonded group, and in the beginning of the story, she's been gone for like 5 years, and she's been pulled back to her bonded group. It's 5 group of guys, and they're really pissed at her because she left. This is also a paranormal romance, so there's a lot of cool stuff happening in this world, and people have like magical abilities, but I don't want to get too deep into that. All the covers are beautiful. Each of the 5 guys get kind of their own book cover too. And I only bought the first one for now. This is another one where I just really want to this as a placeholder so I can remind myself to buy all of these. I love J. Bree's writing. Our main character is so fun and funny and really fierce. She writes enemies to lovers just so well. And this one's fun too because there are 5 different guys that she's kind of slowly romantically involved with. And she does such a good job at just having them, they each have a different personality. Her relationship with each of them is pretty different. At the beginning, they all hate each other, but yeah, throughout each book, there's like different things that are revealed. And yeah, she just writes each guy. And each guy really feels like a separate person, and this world is really fun. I'm excited for this one because I've literally been wanting to buy this for months. It's Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. It's the first book in the Mistborn series. I read the Mistborn series last year. So I've read this, and then I actually already own the 2 other books, Well of Ascension and Hero of Ages. I love this series a lot. I just didn't own this first book just because I originally borrowed it from my dad. And then I bought the other 2 and owned them. So I've been wanting to just have a physical copy of this book. I really like Brandon Sanderson. I hope to read more from him in the future. I read Trust of the Emerald Sea last year. Absolutely loved that one as well. And then this was probably one of my favorite reads, especially this first book last year. So I'm really glad that I have this copy. And I don't know how anybody feels about these types of books. Like the one I read from my dad was a mass market paperback, and it was really big and chunky, and I do like the look of those, but I actually find them kind of hard to read. So I really like the look of these because these covers are all really stunning. But also I just kind of like reading. I think they're a little bit easier to read in this style. So I have that. It's very exciting. And I read this one, Dawn and Dusted by Lila Sage. I read this last month. As you can see by the cover, very pretty. It is a cowboy romance. It is the first of, I believe there's going to be 3 books. The second one just came out recently too. I liked this book a lot. It was a lot of fun. It was very, I think I gave it 3 stars, which isn't a bad thing. I always think of 3 stars as like there's good 3 stars and there's not so good 3 stars. This was definitely a good 3-star book. I'm interested in continuing this series, and I really love this cover. But this was a lot of fun. We have our main female protagonist, Clementine. She is a horse rider, and she got thrown, and she's been having issues and anxiety of getting back on the horse. And she ends up going home. And and then she meets back up with kind of the bad boy of town, who is also her brother's friend, and they have their romance in this book. Then we have It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. Definitely in like a rom-com mood lately. I read this book a few weeks ago, absolutely loved it. I just finished reading Hook, Line, and Sinker, which is the second book. About these 2 sisters who are kind of rich LA socialites, and this main character in this first book, they go back to this Pacific Northwestern town where their father is from, and they find out that they own the bar that's in town, and they found out that they actually own a bar that is in town. And this is kind of a grumpy sunshine romance. She's definitely a fish out of water, and she doesn't quite fit in here. And then she meets up with a guy who is a fisherman, and they have quite a sweet and sexy romance. I really loved this book. I think because I read it the right time of year, I am so in the mood for these like summer romances right now, even though it's not quite summer. It's just such a fun, funny story. Read it super quickly, had a good time. I really, really liked the romance, and I really, really liked their banter. And it was so sweet. The second one too, I liked just as much. It was very sweet. Okay, I'm really excited for this one. It's been on my radar for a while, and hopefully I'll be able to read it in the next month or so, because I almost bought all 4 books in this series, but I was just like, buy the first one, see if you like it first. It's Hate by Tate James. It's the first book in the Madison Kate series. So I actually don't know too much about what this book is about. I know it is another Why I Choose romance. And I believe in this first book, she is set up for something, and she ends up having to go away. And then when she comes back, the guys who she believes framed her, I guess, are now living with her. So she has to deal with them, and basically she's out for revenge and she hates them. And then there's like a romance that ensues. I kind of don't want to read too much of the back cover because I just sort of want to like take this I sort of just want to like read this one day and like get immersed into it. So I'm really excited to read this one, and then if I like it, I'll definitely be buying the rest. I believe there's 4 books in this series. And then last but not least, we have the first book in the Kindred's Curse saga, Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. These covers, I only got the first one because again, I wasn't sure. It's a new series for me. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm going to be continuing the series. I believe there are 4 books in the series. The last one's about to come out. They all have gorgeous covers, just like this. So this book is another fantasy romance, enemies to lovers, very slow burn. We don't get really any romance in this book. And I would say this first book was a very slow burn, kind of set up for the rest of the story. I've heard really good things about the next couple of books, so I'm pretty interested to get into it. But in this world, we're following our girl who is a healer, and her mom goes missing in the beginning of the story. So there are basically humans in this world, and then there's also like the descendant who have magic. And there's a big like social class gap between the two. The humans are really poor, especially where she lives, and she's a healer, so she's trying to take care of people, and she kind of sees like the underbed of the city, and she sees all the destruction and the pain that the humans go through, and the descendant that don't really care about any of that. They're really rich and really powerful, and there's some very interesting political stuff that happens in this book as well, and she starts working with sort of a rebel group, but there's also a romance with a angry, brooding prince. So it's, like I said, a really good start to the story, and I'm really excited to keep reading. And hopefully I can buy all of those books because, again, so beautiful, so beautiful. 18 books, wow. And then there's one more thing before I go that I want to show you guys. They're up here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so A Court of Thorns and Roses is one of my favorite series by Sarah J. Maas. It is a series that got me back into reading. And I've had the like colorful, I don't know if you can see them. The colorful paperbacks are the ones that I originally read, but I've been wanting to buy a copy of the hardcovers. And I really love some of the alternative dust jackets that I've seen. There's a few different ones out there, but I found these really pretty. So I just kind of wanted to show you quickly. So this is the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's the front with our girl Feyre, and that's Tamlin there. And then the back is her hand. I hope you can see this okay. It's really, really pretty. I don't know if it's giving that through the camera. And then our second book is obviously A Court of Mist and Fury. It's one of my favorite books of the series. It's super beautiful. I really like this artwork. I know there's a few others out there, but I just loved how pretty this one in particular is, and another one coming up. And then we've got our inner circle in the back there, if you can see it. And then this one is pretty spectacular. The third book, Court of Wings and Ruin. Got Feyre and Rhys there with the cauldron, obviously. And then I really like, this is probably the favorite for the back picture. Those are the boats. The Nesta, the Elaine, and the Feyre. Court of Frost and Starlight. So beautiful, so Christmassy. They all look amazing. And then got some of our batsmen in the back there. God, I love these so much. And this one, oh, I love A Court of Silver Flames. It's one of my favorite books of all time, and I just love this cover so, so much. Nesta and Cassian dancing is just my favorite freaking thing. And then the back, oh, the back. The Valkyrie going through the archway under the mountain there. So great, so beautiful. Yeah, if you've never read these, I mean, this kind of goes without saying, but I love this series so much. I love Sarah J. Maas, and I'm so glad I bought these. I wanted to treat myself, and they're so pretty, and I'm glad I got a hardcover copy now, and I really like having them on display. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you made it this far, please leave a little hearts emoji in the comments, or tell me the last book that you've bought, because I am always adding things to my list and I want to know what everyone's reading or want to be reading. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any new uploads from me. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!